They're cute as a button, and they'll tear you to ribbons. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 deadliest little girls in anime. For this list, we're looking at female characters who are small in stature and big on carnage. They may look adorable and non-threatening, but that could be your ultimate downfall. Also, we'll be looking into spoiler territory with one or two of these entries, so just a heads up in that regard. Number 10, Mariko Kurama, Elfin Lead.
Well, you see, if I kill her right away, the fun won't last too long.
Our first force of nature on this list is so dangerous, she spent her whole life locked away in a high-security facility. Mariko has a very powerful set of vectors that she can use to annihilate almost anything in her path.
No one can kill me, nobody!
Due to all the experiments on her body, she can barely move on her own, using a wheelchair most of the time. Still, she has no problem killing and puts very little value in human life.
I'm feeling better. My vectors came out the first time I tried, but I guess you can see that.
Number 9, LP Peru, Mobile Suit Gundam Double Zeta. Peru is an artificially enhanced new type who first appears fighting for the Neo Zeon before defecting to the AEUG for her surrogate sibling, Judo Ashita. LP may seem like a troublemaking nuisance, but just put her behind the controls of a mobile suit and everything changes. She's a whiz at mobile suit combat and pilots hers with the skill of a well-seasoned veteran. As one of the best pilots in the AEUG, she's a bundle of energy you shouldn't underestimate on the battlefield. Number 8, Beatrice, Re-Zero. Size matters not when it comes to your skills in magic. Despite her stature, Beatrice is over 400 years old. As a result of this, her skill in magic is almost second to none, and there are plenty of ways she can use it to kick some ass. However, it's making a contract with her that makes her a potentially deadly ally. Beatrice's power is undeniable, so maybe a little monosapping isn't so bad, is it? Number 7, Cruel, Seraph of the End. Thanks to her vampiric powers, this girl clocks in at over 2,000 years old. That alone makes her pretty deadly to anyone who might cross her path. Age, experience, and a lot of power have earned her the title of Queen of Japan in her world. Several have challenged her claim to the role of queen, and Cruel always puts those naysayers in their rightful place at her feet. Anyone who would poke fun at her inappropriate outfit and pink hair would be cautioned not to, lest they suffer her wrath. Number 6, Hibana, Deadman Wonderland.
I am the commander of the 3rd Undertaker Battalion, and I'm here because you have been a very naughty boy.
When you hear the title Undertaker, we bet you never expected this one. The product of an abusive parent, Hibana developed a very twisted sense of justice. Prior to her posting at Deadman Wonderland, she was documented as torturing a fellow student who played a prank on her in school.
Hibana is a lady!
Unsettling to say the least. Hibana is one of the most terrifying horrors awaiting anyone who is unlucky enough to visit Deadman Wonderland.
Someone didn't listen!
Number 5, Aluka, Hunter x Hunter. Aluka might seem like the most harmless entry on this list, but she's here for a reason. Not only does she have a second personality called Nanika, but she has the ability to grant any wish, no matter how great. This definitely comes with a drawback, however. With every wish granted, Aluka asks for more in return from each successive wishmaker. If these demands aren't met, death is almost certain, not just for the target, but for their loved ones as well. Number 4, Kana Inuyasha. Sometimes it's the quiet ones that turn out to be the deadliest. Kana may bear the resemblance of a 10-year-old girl. She is, however, in fact, a detachment of the demented demon Naraku. Armed with a mirror that can reflect Inuyasha's most powerful attacks, Kana proves to be a nigh unbeatable opponent for our heroes. She seldom speaks, and when she does, her words have impact. Demon and cutie pie, Kana is just straight up creepy.
You must hurry.
Number 3, Sengoku Nariko, Monogatari series. It's tough being a girl in love in school. For Sengoku Nariko, that comes with an unfortunate curse though. Ever since she rejected the love of a fellow classmate, Nariko has had a snake curse that threatened her life. While she does manage to stave it off, the curse still manages to try to conquer her mind, and thus she begins a slow spiral into madness. When it finally takes over, Nariko goes from shy to despair-driven crazy. Then she can even use the snakes that she once feared to take on former companions. Number 2, Mume, Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress. When the world goes to hell during a zombie apocalypse, you want to be surrounded by the best survivors. Mume is surprisingly one of those. The reason she's got such an amazing edge against the undead Kabane may have to do with the fact that she's a Kabane herself. Well, sort of. Mume underwent an operation to become stronger and thus became a half Kabane, half human hybrid known as Kabaneri. This girl knows no fear and will often jump headfirst into an onslaught of Kabane and tear through them single-handedly. Before we reveal our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1, Ilya, Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works.
So, are you all done chatting?
Oh, Ilya, she used to be such a happy little girl. That optimism, that smile, how could this little girl be our number 1 pick? First, the loss of both her parents following the Holy Grail War mentally broke her. And second, in search for answers, Ilya also gained a giant-sized servant in Berserker.
Time to kill you. Okay, go get them, Berserker.
Ilya's troubled mind makes her believe that anyone can bow to her whim, and if you don't get in line, she'll have Berserker mow you down, with the smile on her face.
Gosh, what nimble prey. I think I'm going to add 2 more just for you. Oh, come on!
Do you agree with our list? Which tiny but deadly menace is your number 1 choice? For more character spotlighting top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
What do you want me to say to someone who's going to die here in the next few minutes?
Both companies have dozens of superheroes with high-flying abilities, but underneath all that flash and glamour, they have a bunch of differences as well.
You know what, Reed? This is who we are. Accept it.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 differences between Marvel and DC Comics.
Avengers, time to work for a living.
For this list, we're looking at a variety of aspects and details unique to each company's management and production styles that mark significant details between them. Even though they both crank out superhero stories, there are some fascinating differences between how the two companies go about it.
Let's count them down.
Number 10, Marvel has more superhero teams.
Hey there, what's up? Shazam. I'm with him.
He's not.
with me.
We can honestly just explain this by listing off a few of the many teams that Marvel Comics has brought together over the years. First and foremost, there are the Avengers, possibly the most widely recognized ensemble in the Marvel Universe, although they're still rivaled in popularity by the X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Man, I love this job.
Job, huh?
Not only do these teams have tons of variations, but Marvel also has the Secret Warriors, the Inhumans, Alpha Flight, the Defenders, the list goes on. While DC's Justice League and Teen Titans are more than a match for what Marvel has to offer, they really just aren't enough established heroes for them to compete. Number 9, Marvel's characters die and return more often.
She's gone. No!
Over the years, Marvel has tried to replicate the massive success of the Death of Superman storyline by killing off many of their own characters. One of the more famous examples was the Death of Captain America storyline, which revolved around the assassination of the Star-Spangled Avenger. The X-Men series also hasn't been shy with offing their major players, including the death of Jean Grey, Wolverine, and even Professor X himself. It makes for more dramatic storytelling, we get it, but it kind of breaks the dramatic tension if they all die so frequently, not to mention they come back to life only a few months later. We guess it's only a matter of time before even Uncle Ben comes back too.
Uncle Ben? Uncle Ben?
Number 8, Marvel's events are more frequent.
What do we do, Cap?
We fight.
This is gonna end well.
We're not saying that DC doesn't have their share of large-scale comic book events, like the wildly entertaining Flashpoint or the shocking Death of Superman storylines. However, these events are few and far between, and that's really not a bad thing. Marvel, on the other hand, has been cranking out universe-changing events pretty much every year. Heroes fought heroes in Civil War, and everything changed. Then in Secret Invasion, heroes fought Skrulls disguised as heroes, and everything changed. Then, during the Dark Reign, heroes fought villains disguised as heroes, and everything changed. You starting to get the picture here? Marvel keeps things moving with huge crossover storylines, but DC's massive events definitely have more of an impact. Number 7, the dark sides.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally?
Both companies are nearly equal in terms of representing the dark sides of their respective heroes. However, the interesting differences arise in how they handle their grimmer subject matter.
Sadly, our venue wasn't built with the disabled in mind.
Why are you doing this?
To prove a point. Here's to crime.
Marvel has reserved this more edgy side of their properties for solo characters like Punisher and Daredevil, who you won't often see fighting alongside any of Marvel's iconic names.
The man that hired your lawyers. Who does he work for?
DC, on the other hand, puts Batman, literally the Dark Knight, front and center, and his popularity and influence is what gave superhero comics a more serious tone in the first place. Often parodied and from time to time even taken a little too far, DC definitely puts the darkness front and center.
This is a song I wrote for Wild Style. Darkness! It's about how I'm an orphan. No parents!
Number 6, DC has animation figured out.
If it isn't me, it'll just be someone else.
Really? Who do they send after you?
Whether it's a television series or animated feature, DC undoubtedly has a stranglehold on Marvel in this department. That's not to say that Marvel doesn't release as many outings as its rival company, it's just that DC's hit a much higher level of quality and much more often.
I am not a disgrace. I am vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman!
Marvel has some brilliant strokes with the 90s X-Men and Spider-Man animated series. And while a few other shows since then have done a great job, there just isn't enough in Marvel's animated portfolio.
Nuts.
DC, on the other hand, really knows what they're doing in this department, and DC fans have a lot more to love when it comes to animation.
What we have here is a rare opportunity for me to cut loose and show you just how powerful I really am.
Number 5, DC has a longer history.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Long before Peter Parker squeezed into his Spidey suit, the DC Universe was already bursting at the seams with a laundry list of heroes and villains. Even though both companies kicked off around the same time, it took a generation before Marvel created their big names. Superman had already soared through the sky, Batman was already prowling the rooftops, and The Flash had picked up tons of speed before the Fantastic Four's first issue even hit the shelves. So much of Marvel's success rests on characters who were created in the 60s and 70s, whereas many of the DC heroes we love today have been around since the very beginning. Number 4, DC has more standalone stories.
Stay away from me! Don't come any closer, you monster!
We already find it very impressive how both companies somehow managed to find writers and artists capable of delivering brand new storylines each and every month. On top of this already strenuous task, DC somehow manages to find the time and extra bursts of creativity to produce a lot of completely standalone narratives. Alan Moore's groundbreaking novel Watchmen made waves in the comic book community for challenging the conventions of the medium, delivering a truly thought-provoking piece of work.
What happened to the American dream? What happened to the American dream? It came true. You're looking at it.
Additionally, Grant Morrison wrote the chilling Arkham Asylum, a much more psychological look into the relationship the Dark Knight shares with his rogues gallery. We love traditional monthly issues with overarching plots, but sometimes it's nice to find something fresh and different, something that DC satisfies us with regularly.
Your turn, Doctor. Tell me, what do you see?
Number 3, DC's universe is more fictional. Marvel uses real locations.
Oh yeah, I got something for your ass! You mess with Spidey, you mess with New York! You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us!
From Gotham to Metropolis to Central City, DC's locations are based on real-world cities, but they definitely aren't places that you'll ever find on a map. While these imaginative playgrounds give DC a lot of creative freedom, we appreciate Marvel using real places to add an extra element of reality and believability.
Washington, D.C.
Can you believe that it was even considered a controversial decision back in the day? Both directions have pros and cons. Indeed, Marvel always has to struggle to keep their world intact and constant with the real world, but it really comes down to relatability versus escapism and what you personally want from your superhero stories.
Superheroes in New York? Give me a break.
Number 2, Marvel has more stories and characters that deal with real issues.
You're fired. Go.
Please, I need this job.
You're fired.
But give me another chance.
Speaking of reality and believability helping immerse a reader into a storyline, Marvel's approach to tackle real-world issues can truly register in the eyes of audiences, as they too have experienced very similar dilemmas and situations.
Is there a problem? I have to serve you jerks from the college, but I ain't putting up with any trouble from their kind.
Skin color prejudice? That's so pathetic.
After the devastating 9/11 attacks, Marvel wrote a story featuring Spider-Man, Captain America, and other characters helping out with the recovery and repairs necessary after such a traumatic experience. While everyone has felt anger and loneliness like Bruce Wayne, mutant hatred in the X-Men is just one big allegory for social prejudice. And who hasn't had a boss like Jonah Jameson give them hell at least once in their life?
All right, Mr. Jameson.
Sticks.
Superman has a real job too, but come on, he's never had to worry about paying the bills.
How you doing? Jimmy Olsen, photographer.
Oh, hi. Clark Kent. Nice to meet you.
Number 1, Marvel has their movies figured out.
A hush falls over the crowd as rookie sensation Wade W. Wilson out of Regina, Saskatchewan lines up the shot.
Marvel has taken the movie industry by storm with some big screen hits like Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Captain America.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens.
Brooklyn.
Furthermore, they paved the way for multiple films to have a cohesive narrative across multiple entries starring different characters and creating a tangible link between them all.
Mr. Stark.
Captain.
Even before this mega success, Marvel proved itself in the film business with Blade, X-Men, and Spider-Man. DC has a lot of great movies under its belt, with the original 1978 Superman and the Dark Knight trilogy being the standouts. However, recently, DC's attempts to catch up to the Marvel Cinematic Universe have fallen short of expectations, regardless of whether or not you enjoyed the films.
Find him! Save Martha!
Do you agree with our list? What do you think are the most striking differences between Marvel and DC?
That's the best you can do!
For more informative top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
You're getting soft in your old age. Don't you have a tall building to go leap?
And the adventure continues.
Before Marvel and DC cornered the superhero film market, there was the 90s, a decade filled with risk-taking flicks built upon a slew of wacky premises. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 superhero movies of the 1990s.
Let's do it, guys. Right. It's morphin' time.
Triceratops!
Number 10, Black Mask. An invincible Jet Li on a mission to rid the city of a group of ex-commandos on a killing spree? Yes, please. Such was the plot of this 90s action-adventure flick. After special surgery renders him unable to feel pain, Tsui Shik, or Simon in the US version, dons a black mask and sets out to cleanse his town of evildoers. Filled with exactly the same kind of intense action and brilliant fight sequences that Jet Li has made a career out of. This was a superhero movie with a martial arts twist. Or maybe a martial arts movie with a superhero twist. Either way, it's pretty sweet. Number 9, Mystery Men.
But if you're going to eat cake, you ought to use a fork. You might just as well shovel it in.
This superhero spoof was in no short supply of quirky one-liners and outlandish set pieces. When Captain Amazing, the A-list protector of the fictitious Champion City, is kidnapped, 3 underappreciated superheroes with mediocre powers put together a team of misfits in an attempt to rescue him.
Everybody heard me say reset button, right?
Oh my god. Oh my god, we killed him.
What do you mean, we?
Lampooning many of the tropes made famous by other comic book adaptations, this film pushes humor to the forefront, never trying to be anything more than a hilarious look at a group of average Joe heroes. With superpowers such as getting angry and throwing cutlery on display, this film had a little trouble attracting a wide audience, but it's still a fun cult classic.
People who live in glass houses strange, because this is what happens.
Number 8, The Rocketeer. Owning the skies in a badass leather jacket has never looked so good. When stunt pilot Cliff Secord stumbles upon a jetpack that enables him to fly, he must deal with gangsters, Nazi agents, and the indomitable Howard Hughes, all of whom desperately want that jetpack.
Where's the rocket?
We've got the girl. The rocket will come to us.
This period piece has a true comic book feel, mixing in moments of intense action with just the right amount of sly charm. While the film didn't wow audiences during its initial release, it remains an exciting adventure film that never takes itself too seriously.
I like it.
Number 7, The Mask.
Hookhead.
Was there ever any doubt as to who could properly bring this character to life? After discovering a mask that transforms him into a maniacal trickster with the ability to manipulate both himself and his surroundings, timid bank clerk Stanley Ipkiss wreaks havoc on a local gangster while righting a few wrongs along the way. Perfectly embodied by the unique talent of Jim Carrey, The Mask is one smokin' superhero. Noted for its excellent use of animation, this summer blockbuster made it clear that even lesser-known comic book heroes could be bankable properties. Shot for a mere $23 million, this flick would become the 4th highest-grossing film of the year.
Thank you. You love me. You really love me.
Number 6, Batman, Mask of the Phantasm.
Time to pay for your sins, Mr. Bronsky.
Based on the phenomenal Batman the Animated Series television show, this film took all the best aspects of the Dark Knight's animated adventures and threw them up on the big screen. When Gotham's crime bosses begin to turn up dead, the city points its fingers at the Dark Knight.
It's Batman!
Working to clear his name, Batman must deal with the shadowy killer while juggling an old flame who has recently re-entered his life. A neo-noir mystery straight out of a Raymond Chandler novel, this flick earned praise from critics, with many calling it the best animated film of the year. Noted for its excellent voice work and fantastic action sequences, this superhero film did not disappoint, animated or not.
Joker.
Number 5, The Crow. After a gang of thugs murders Eric Draven and his fiancée, he rises from the dead with supernatural powers and a singular goal: revenge. A dark and twisted tale of bloody vengeance, this film was praised for its visual style and strong acting performances, especially from the late lead actor.
Suddenly, I heard a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
What are you talking about?
While the movie has since garnered a resilient cult following, it will forever be remembered for the one death that wasn't in the script. when a prop gun accidentally shot and killed lead actor Brandon Lee, The Crow went from a gritty action flick to one of the most infamous films of all time. Number 4. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. Who would have thought that the secret formula for grossing $200 million was pizza, crime-fighting reptiles, and a talking rat? Yet, in the spring of 1990, it was the Ninja Turtles who ruled the box office. Together with their rat sensei Splinter, the Turtles must team up with a young reporter in order to stop the evil Foot Clan and their leader, the Shredder, from taking over New York City.
Attack!
Armed with an abundance of youthful flair, wicked fighting moves, and a love of all things pizza, these unconventional heroes took the world by storm. While the film wasn't exactly winning any Oscars, it has since become a lovely piece of nostalgia for those looking to be transported to a simpler time before Iron Man and Batman ruled the silver screen.
Where the heck is 122 and an 8?
You're standing on it, dude.
Number 3. Blade.
Jesus, that's him.
It's Blade. It's the Daywalker.
All those people pushing to get tickets to the next Avengers movie have another Marvel character to thank, Blade. Being only the second Marvel property to receive a wide release in the United States, Blade was the first to achieve both critical and financial success. In the film, Blade is a half-man, half-vampire who must defend the world from a group of evil vampires who wage war on humanity.
Wait a minute. You use me as bait?
Get over it.
Featuring Wesley Snipes in the role that would make him a household name, this film has no shortage of badass action sequences. Number 2. The Mask of Zorro. A swashbuckling vigilante with charm to spare. Characters like Zorro are why people go to the movies, including the Wayne family. This franchise reboot set in 19th century California sees an aging Zorro, played by Anthony Hopkins, pass the torch on to a young thief, played by Antonio Banderas.
Yes, my friend, you would have fought very bravely and died very quickly. Who then would avenge your brother?
They would have found their way.
Billed with exactly the kind of action and intrigue made famous by the character in previous incarnations, this film ups the ante by combining impressive stunt work with an array of beautiful set pieces. Staying in popcorn flick territory definitely served the film well, as the market would soon be saturated with an influx of gritty origin stories. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
There's a big world out there, and it's up for sale, all of it. All we gotta do is make sure that the people know I'm the one big enough to run it.
And that you are guilty of attempting to bribe an officer of the law.
Number 1. Batman Returns. After the success of 1989's Batman, it was only a matter of time before the Dark Knight returned to protect Gotham once more. This time around, Batman must do battle with all manner of criminals as the Penguin teams up with corrupt businessman Max Schreck in a plot to take over the city, as usual.
I believe he's on extended vacation. He's good.
Good. Hiya, Max, remember me?
With the addition of Danny DeVito, Christopher Walken, and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, this superhero flick was overflowing with A-list talent. Heralded for its visual style and poignant musical score, Batman Returns' $45 million opening weekend gross was the highest in history up until that point. While praise for the film dipped in comparison to its predecessor, one cannot argue its place in the pantheon of superhero films.
Nice kitty. Nice kitty. Nice kitty.
Do you agree with our list? What's your favorite superhero film of the 90s?
Why don't you tell me?
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 I don't know, you tell me.
Do I mind what? Do I?
Silence!
For more entertaining top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Can't make the scene if you don't have the green. I better make a little stop.